I had to look that up. Army of the Dead.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and due to the lockdown, Lord knows when that's going to come out.
Yeah.
But
maybe it'll just happen.
Deb has something that we talked about in the first recording that she wants to talk about, what she didn't like about the movie.
I was like, what are you talking about?
That was the first real thing we went into before. So go ahead, Deb.
The part that I didn't like was the whole when she had the baby at the mall. And what's her name? I forgot her name.
And I was thinking, because Deborah's she had the baby, you can't do it. What was the real reason why you had a problem with it?
Because he looked like he was waiting to catch a football.
He was standing there, down, set,
go, or however he said.
Hut, Deborah, not go.
Well, he said go because he was telling the baby, come on, let's go, like, hurry up.
That's the only reason why? Because it looked like he was getting ready to catch football?
That, and then I didn't like they could have done better with the zombie baby.
See, I thought she was going to go all like sentimental. That's how sexist of me it was. I thought she was like, you can't have the baby and the blah, 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 blah.
No, the baby looked dumb. The baby.
For 2004, it was pretty good.
They did a good job, yeah.
Yeah, but I still didn't like it.
When we rewatched it, I tried to say, I hadn't noticed that they made it so obvious that she got bit during because she covers her arm where the bite's at.
When the Twitcher was there.
Yeah, when the Twitcher came out, which is one of the problems I have with the movie, the whole Twitcher thing.
So my question was, how do you think Ben the Fountain Twitcher security guard turned into a zombie? I didn't see anything visible on him.
Well, I didn't look that much into detail on it, but I think he went out for a smoke break.
I think so too. Because the other guy says, they told him not to go out.
And then so he went outside, and as soon as he walked outside the door, they heard some sound effect made by a vacuum cleaner that was clearly ripping off Evil Dead. And then the ghost fell down, and then he helped the ghost zombie up. And then he was like, "You all right?"
I was like, "What are you talking
about?" For those of y'all who don't know, Paul was the zombie.
Why you don't go outside.
Yeah, he was the zombie in our zombie film called A Zombie Movie, and that's exactly how he got possessed with the ghost zombie juice.
It's a good thing we're not doing video because my face probably. I was like, "What?"
And that's why I quit smoking.
Yeah, so that's what I think. Honestly, not even the tie for zombie movie, but I think he went out for a smoke break and he got attacked by the armless guy. That you remember that one?
Yeah,
the runner,
one arm.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude, the marathon runner without one arm. Which also pisses me off. The legless ninja guy that jumped on their back, that he was climbing over the conduit in the mall when they went out there and they set him on fire and all that. Yeah, he was just just what's the word I'm looking for? Oh man, I'm fat, so I don't do that kind of exercise. He was just gymnastics, yeah, but he was parkouring through the mall, just choom choom choom, no big deal, and just silently
to get up there. But maybe no, I can't even come up with a good excuse for that. But if he didn't have legs in the first place, his upper body strength would probably be pretty strong if he was like one of those people that just always worked out. Because there's actually people who have no legs and they kick ass.
Well, speaking of which, I'm looking at the Did You Know?
Really bad.
No, I know what you mean. The Did You Know section on IMDb says the two zombies that were missing limbs, the jogger missing an arm, and the legless zombie in the parking garage were both played by actual amputees.
Yeah, I did know that.
The same thing,
but only because I watched the extras.
I watched it too, like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I watched the shit out of those extras. I had another question.
Man, I wish we would have had the video of that. Paul's there with his book, and he's sitting back in his chair, and he brings his coffee cup up to his face.
I tell you should record with your phone.
With my cat. Like, I don't know where it's at. I don't know how this backwards camera works.
There it is.
There it is. That's me. Anyway, my question is, for you two.
Okay.
How would you deal with sleeping with constant moaning and scratching? Like, you're trying to sleep at night and all you hear is moaning, scratching, shuffling of zombies. Because for like a quick moment before they go to bed in one scene, you can kind of hear them.
Well,
but they don't really show anything after that.
I'll start this, and no entendre intended or anything like that. Double entendre intended. But we have a Shih Tzu, and we have what is
He's
Ben?
a Norfolk Terrier.
Norfolk Terrier, and they get very mad when we don't let them in the room, and we don't let them sleep with us. So every night they're scratching on the door, and the first time it happened scared the shit out of us because it sounds like somebody. And it's
We're like, what the fuck?
It's because they're standing up and they're just like patting the door. So every night, and it never fails. Definitely when it's raining or something goes on outside, the dogs freak out, and that's what happens. But and then the Shih Tzu just snores and growls in his sleep and makes all these weird noises. So that's really not an issue. I mean, I would sleep easy, to be honest with you.
I don't know how I would sleep because, I mean, I sleep with, like how you said, but knowing that there's zombies out there, I don't think I'd be able to.
Well, you're going to have to sooner or later.
I know, but I would be like, okay, Josh, you sleep, and then I'll stay awake, and then I'll sleep, and you stay awake.
Mm-hmm.
That way I know we're okay.
That's when I wake up and she's asleep.
Slightly different.
But if you wake up, that's a good thing.
How would you deal with it, Paul?
I didn't actually think about answering that question myself. To be honest, I wasn't prepared for a follow-up question. That's actually the question, not a follow-up. I guess earplugs, honestly. Actually, my old roommate, when his wife had moved in, this is back in Virginia, his wife moved in, he had maybe like a 1-year-old son would just shriek. He was so loud. And I was working overnight, so I would get off in the morning when they were, and I would try to go to bed when I got home, and they'd be just waking up, and he'd just be like throwing fits all the time. And I had my my ear pro from when I would go to the range, and I would pop that in, block it out, 100%. Couldn't hear anything. So I think that's what I would do. Yeah. Although I would be nervous because what if they broke in? I wouldn't be able to hear it or anything like that. So. Thinking like on a serious, like it would actually happen.
That causes anxiety, just like the zombie apocalypse would cause anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, I already have it, but it would make it worse. But I guess I would sleep better. I mean, as long as like I die instantly, I guess I'd be okay. But you wouldn't, because.
Did you notice that when they were inside the mall, that everywhere they would meet, where they would have their meeting place in the mall was the coffee shop? And it was
Hallowed Ground.
Hallowed Ground. You motherfucker. That's what I was. That was. You beat me to the point.
It was yours. I'm sorry.
Boo.
Start over. Edit it. You can ask again.
No. We're not doing any of that editing stuff.
Oh no! I better watch what I say.
I know this movie was. I don't know why they do it differently than this, but it was actually shot in chronological order.
Yeah,
like they started at the beginning and ended at the end, which if you know anything about filmmaking, most movies don't do that. Man, my eye is really crossed right now.
I read that and then I thought about it and it made sense because of the progression of like them getting bloodied and stuff. I guess they didn't really get bloody because they were stuck in the mall the whole time. But
being tired and losing weight, and you know what I mean? That's something else I never understand, where you can tell somebody's like skinnier at the beginning of the movie or they're not as in shape at the beginning of the movie. You know, when it's not $1 billion movie where there's somebody training them on what to do.
Well, they painted the shit out of Andy to make him look like he was skin and bones. You could totally tell they painted him.
Yeah.
Like they painted his ribs at the end when he's like, I'm hungry.
I so would have loved if when he picked up the sign and it was all the blood splatter or the smear on it, if it would have been Andy, but like the way they did in Toy Story on the bottom of their shoes.
In blood.
In blood. That would have been great. I'm going to Photoshop that.
In red.
But of course, they did the save the dog scene.
Of course.
Actually, so what would you have done? That's not one of my questions on here, but that's a good question. Would you have saved the dog?
No.
I think especially after like just meeting the dog, I'd be like, oh man, that sucks. Like we're just trying to get cool.
Man,
But,
that was such a good dog.
Well, how when they found the dog to that part, how long do you think it was?
Well, no, that's another good reason. That dog scared the shit out of them too. I'd have been like, nah, that's what he gets for sneaking around corners.
Well, the girl had just lost her dad, so
Yeah.
that was probably like her new attachment.
Max Headroom. Paul's all compassionate and shit.
Sorry, I'll try to tone that down.
People's feelings.
I have a question. Okay, so on the part where they're in the mall and then that truck comes and it has all the people with all of them.
That's when we see the runner. The one-armed runner.
Yeah. Would y'all let them in?
I say yes. I mean, not as fast as they did, but you would have had to get some kind of plan or whatever to hopefully. But I mean, if that's...
I think I would have been okay until I saw that big lady. The lady that was already
the morbidly
really a man.
obese lady.
the one that looked like she was in horrible shape.
Well, yeah, that's something, Paul, that we Deb and I talked about. Is there no zombie movies in these universes? Is there no Of the Deads? Do they not say the word zombie? Because after all the stuff that they would have seen up until that point, and then you bring in this big woman in a wheelbarrow, all vascular and everything like that. I'm like, nah, she stays outside. Pop one in the head and just, sorry, peace.
I was thinking about that, but at that time when they brought her in, they didn't know that you turn into zombies by bites yet.
That's what
Anna
I'm saying.
did.
Is there no Of the Dead in their
Anna knew.
universe?
She saw it happen to her husband.
Yeah.
So she fucked up. She saw a bite on this one. Well, she saw her husband die, then come back. She didn't see him get bit and then come back.
Well, she bit him in the neck and like tore his everything.
Tore his neck out. But
Dislocated
to your original question, 2004, Paul, I probably wouldn't have let him in. Hell no. Today, I would definitely vetted some people and be like, you're cool, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're out.
Here's the keys to the truck. Just stay in there.
Well, all I would have had to do was all of y'all can come in except her. And whoever complained about it, they're not coming in. Everybody else is like, we understand. Okay, bye, peace.
I mean, if you want to get granular about it, how about how they let them in through that truck, right? So that truck didn't match the opening of that sliding door.
Right.
So the dock door. So they would have had to open up that dock door, making a shit ton of noise, and then brought them all out. They had to get that big lady out, which would have taken some time. So if the zombies would have heard it, they would have squeezed in through the sides.
Yeah. Yeah, that's way too technical, Paul.
A little bit.
Gotta suspend.
Too emotional, too technical.
Gotta suspend, disbelief for a little bit there. Another problem.
Too much.
Another problem I had was, especially with Ving Rhames being in charge and saying he was police. Wouldn't he be smart enough to the husband and wife, the expecting parents? They're like, oh, we're just going to leave her hiding in this room and nobody's going to see her for days. And, and even Anna as a nurse, wouldn't they be smart enough to be like, hey, how come they've quarantined themselves off by, they don't want nobody to see her.
Talking about the pregnant lady.
The pregnant lady.
I would have had my suspicions.
Yeah, and then they were all surprised when there was a zombie baby, and when they got in there and she was all tied up and all weirded out and all that.
I mean, they really don't know each other, so it's kind of like, I'm just gonna mind my business. Like, you
That's
do whatever
true,
the
too.
fuck you want.
I don't want to be around all you people.
No, but by this time, hadn't they already seen the big lady freak out and zombie out and turn all capoeira crazy and all that? And